Welcome in to the 365 Sports Baylor post-game show. Paul Catalina, Brian Etheridge, Jacob Wilson, who will not only just be producing, you'll get to see his beautiful face on the show. So it's very exciting. All here. Baylor wins 42-7 over Texas State, and this score is as expected, Brian. I think the route to get there was a little circuitous for Baylor because in the first half they looked sluggish.
I would say so.
I think that's probably an appropriate term. I have some concerns that won't go away until we see some plays in conference season, but they managed to do what they had to do and put some distance between them and Texas State. But so first off, Brian and then Jacob, it was not the prettiest 42-7 win.
No, but you take every 42-7 win
you
get. But I agree, and I think that's something I put it out there in our pregame on the website. I thought they would be sluggish. I thought they played a very physical BYU team. They came back late. The bodies weren't adjusted. Even though they're young, when you go out there and you lay it all on the line and give it all in that game, both those teams did. I'm going to be interested to watch BYU tonight against Oregon to see how they react because we saw Baylor look sluggish, like teams used to look after they play Baylor. Well, Iowa State's now waiting. You got another physical game. Did they look past Texas State thinking, oh, crap, we got another physical game coming against Iowa State? Or was it, we bashed heads for so long against BYU that we're still tired from that game or we're aching from that game? I mean, today I think we had nine starters go out of the game at one point, not play, or go out of the game, maybe up to 10 guys who were starters who missed time, did not play at all, or missed time in this game.
Yeah. And Jacob, there are some concerns, but your overall thoughts after that win. Again, it's 42-7. Everything worked out fine, but the numbers don't necessarily paint the picture of that game.
Yeah, Paul, we were talking about it on the walk to the car. It was 35 at the time. I said, that's going to be like the most white-knuckled 35-7 win. It ended up being more than that. But I think I mentioned in my write-up that they're coming in with a black eye, and they played very much like they had a black eye. And I think I'm pretty sure that we're not going to have Corey Coleman or Denzel Mims or Kendall Wright emerge for this team. They're going to have to find a way to get guys open for Blake Shapen to hit them because I don't know how good Blake Shapen is right now because his support staff is not fantastic right now, and this is something that Baylor fans are not used to in the past decade because they've always had someone that can catch the ball, get open, and so we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah. 254-339-1122. Call us or text us or comment on the YouTube page. And let's see, right off the bat, from the 361, nice win. Would have liked more dominance in the first half and in the passing game. Might have found a star in Richard Reese. Richard Reese is fast and he's okay, but they don't have an alpha dog running back right now with Tay McWilliams out. And we don't know if it would have been Tay McWilliams either because he left that game so early last week. We just know that all these people played well against Albany. Squirrel Williams had a great 30-yard run, and then after that, he had a couple of bad plays. And you can probably see why injuries and maybe that stuff is why they're a little reticent to just completely take the guardrails off of Squirrel Williams, which I think they probably need to eventually just do, and especially in their conference season. But I think the biggest concern remains for this team is they cannot take the top off of defense right now. Monterey Baldwin's out. They don't have anybody who can do that. And he got hurt before they even really tried last week.
Yeah.
So they might because he was out of the game in the middle of the second quarter. And, given that was going to be a game of long possession times, sometimes you just don't get to your deep play. You don't get to it. But before they even really wanted to try it, Monterey Baldwin's out. Hal Presley's a possession receiver. Seth Jones did some nice things today, made some nice catches.
Gavin Holmes had a good
catch. But those guys are not necessarily, oh, dear God, how can we cover this guy? They are possession receivers, first down guys, and Baylor needs somebody who can back those safeties off so that the defense doesn't get to play 8 guys in the box with impunity. And they don't have that guy right now. Travis said they need to find a second running back. Maybe that's Richard Reese. Maybe it is. Quaylon Jones played a little bit. Richard Reese played a lot more than I think maybe a lot of people expected. Squirrel played a little bit. But overall, they need to find that dude, and they don't really have it. I had high hopes for Jordan Jenkins because I thought he was built like a wide zone running back. But when we see him play, he is built like it. He just doesn't run the wide zone very well.
Yes.
So he's still learning the offense. So there's all these things that are going on at the skill positions there for Baylor that I think are a little bit troubling. I don't think it's like, oh my God, this team's going to, win 4 games. I think they're going to be fine.
Yes.
They're just going to have to find different ways to create those opportunities.
I think also the injuries have put the positions in flux. When you have your guy that you think is going to be who takes the top off of Baldwin's out. Yeah. He was out against BYU. He's out in this game. You had also Ben Sims out. I mean, so your number one, the safety blanket for Chapin was gone.
Yeah.
He's out. So, and it's a young group. They need to come up there, and you need a Presley. You need a Winfield. I think that Neighbors, he showed his electricity, but again, he's playing late in the games. That's a guy that I think is the next Corey Coleman.
Yeah.
But he is also a true freshman. So what do you do? Where's the experience? Holmes comes in there and shows his experience and shows explosive play. You need somebody else besides him and Baldwin to do that. So if you can find that next 2 receivers, you're going to be okay there, and you're going to have some shape and ability. But until it happens, if they're injured, you're not going to have them. And so that's, I think, what's ailing Baylor right now on offense.
Yeah, I agree. They need to find something. Jacob, they've got to. And this is incumbent on Jeff Grimes and Sean Bell and the, Juice Johnson and the offensive
Dallas
staff,
Baker,
Dallas Baker, to figure out a way to create some of these things, because Baldwin, until he comes back, and maybe it might be next week, we don't know. I mean, they're not going to. Dave Aranda's not just telling people like, oh yeah. The only time I think he has to come clean about it is like, yeah, we saw that guy break his leg. Yeah, he broke his leg.
Yeah,
I'm not fooling you there, but he plays that close to the vest. So, I mean, they've got to create some stuff. They got to maybe reinvent some of that offense.
Yeah, I think Jeff Grimes, he's going to have to get very creative. And I think on the defensive side of the ball, they're going to have to figure out some things in their secondary, because Lane Hatcher outpassed Blake Shapen in the first half today. And he was dink and dunk, but it was clear that these guys could get open against the Baylor secondary. And so when we start playing these Big 12 teams that come in with their offenses, they're going to know what to exploit.
Yeah.
I think they ran a base package a little bit, too, on the first half. In the second half, they turned the pressure up a little bit, held Texas State to just under 100 yards in the second half. So I think that was the interesting thing to watch, is when the second and third team come in, it was more the pass rushing specialists like Bryson Jackson who came in. Mm-hmm. But he came in early in the first half and just got picked up. And, he vacated his position, on his rush, and then they exploited it. They had scouted Baylor very well.
Oh, yes.
There were some things like when Chapin rolled out and threw the interception against his body. That was well scouted. Chapin's rolled out to his right almost every single game when he gets any kind of pressure. But that pocket was still good, and that's the one thing Chapin has to learn to do, is step up in that pocket and deliver the ball. And, Texas State saw it, got him a little bit of flash. He rolls out, throws against his body, interception. So, I've got to give some credit to Texas State in the first half. But as the bodies wore down, Baylor obviously took control of the game.
Yeah, they did. And that was good to see, because I will say this. To see, like we said, it was the most white knuckle 42-7 game ever, but it is the side of the team that's good, that can overcome a sluggish half and go, okay, let's assert our will a little bit more right here. Also, they've not for the first 3 games gotten a whole lot of pass rush.
Yep.
And we finally did see it a little bit. And it was when Dylan Doyle was able to come back in the game. I really hate this stupid targeting. Like, I'm fine with kicking you out for the rest of the game. But the first half of the next week, if you get kicked out in the second half, like...
I mean, and I went back and watched that play, and I still don't see him... it wasn't the top of his helmet. And it was a bang play, and the ball was in the guy's hands.
It was targeting in the most general sense of targeting, but it wasn't like it wasn't one that like you're gonna, when they go to the training and they say this is what you need to look for.
Yeah,
they're not showing that that targeting on there. I get it why they called it. I get
Yes.
it, but I'm fine with the way the targeting penalty is because I think hurting a team for the rest of that game is fine. But also leaving a guy out for a half and them having come in is just a silly penalty. Of course, it's from the NCAA who has stuff like vacating wins.
Yep.
If I lost
And Heisman
70
trophies.
yeah. If I lost, yeah.
We know who won.
If Reggie Bush ran past me, I think I'm going to remember it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happened.
Hurdles over you. Yeah, you know that play happened. Yeah.
He made me look ridiculous, and his parents got a free house. Oh man, that means that game didn't happen. It wasn't real. 254-339-1122. Call us or text us on that number. And Richard Reese had 19 carries, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns. And if they can keep that going with him, that's great. Squirrel averaged 7 yards a carry. He had one of those runs was a 30-yard touchdown run that was just beautiful. He did have the fumble. He had that really awkward thing at the kickoff, and it just felt like one of those days at that point. But Baylor was able to come back and put some distance. The offensive line needs to get healthy, needs to play like they know they can play.
Yeah.
They're not doing that to that level yet. And maybe it is just shaking off BYU, feeling good about this game, and jumping into the Big 12 season. Because last year, this team didn't completely wake up until they kind of got knocked around a little bit in Stillwater.
Yeah, and I think today, Miller went out today. Keith's still out. So, you're missing right now, you're missing both starters on your right side of the line.
Yeah.
You're going to need them next week.
Yeah.
You're going to need, hopefully, Miller's not injured too badly.
He came off under his own power, so.
Came in for a series and then went right back out.
Yeah.
And that's what worries you. Because if something's not feeling it, or maybe he needs to be braced up, I'm not 100% sure on what happened to him. But he is a guy that the Baylor needs. And they need Khalil Keith back, and so far we don't have a timetable on that. So that's Gavin Byers got to step it up, and the tight ends on that side of the ball.
Yeah, my biggest question overall, and we'll get to Matt and DC in a second and then take a break, is how can this offense move the safeties back? How do you do that? Mm-hmm. And who comes up and who steps up? Who has that ability that we don't know? Has it or haven't done it yet, hasn't figured out how to run the routes yet? Who can develop that over the season? Because as you play, you get better generally, especially with a coaching staff like this. They're going to get better. But all the offseason, my one big concern, Brian, was this is a conference championship winning team last year.
Yes.
They played 3 wide receivers nearly exclusively. And taking out total garbage time in a couple of the non-cons, there was if you look at teams, the other teams that win conferences, if you looked at Ohio State, who had the best wide receivers in the country, if you look at Georgia, Alabama, the other teams that won leagues, you're going to see guys that are the 4th, 5th, 6th wide receiver come in and make a random play here and there.
Yes.
It did not happen for this Baylor team last year. And Drew Estrada played a lot of the season with a hurt ankle.
Yeah.
He wasn't, but he was dealing with an ankle issue. There are a couple games, if they had somebody behind, maybe they could have said, all right, Drew, you're going to get 15 snaps tonight, in key situations in the red zone, and we'll keep you out so you can rest that ankle. And it's your turn, your turn, your turn. But we didn't see those guys until this year. So sometimes that's a little bit troubling to me. And I think I get that they're young and they didn't know why, they didn't know how. And all this is a new offense, but those things have to get better for them as they go down the line. All right, let's go to the phones. Got 2 calls. We got Steven and we've got Matt in D.C. Here with us on the Sick 'Em 365 Radio Baylor call-in show, post-game show, Game Day Live, whatever you want to call it. Matt in D.C., what's up, buddy?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for taking my call. Hey, first of all, great win. I'm glad that we bounced back after, feeling so down at 2:30 a.m. last week. So, hey, great win. End result was great. Don't like the turnovers, and I'd like to get your thoughts on my fear of this secondary getting picked apart by Oklahoma and Texas and other teams later in the season, even K-State, because I feel like Texas State was just running all over our secondary, just getting open and open. I think that has a lot to do with the D-line not getting to the quarterback. I saw a lot of holes that weren't called. But what are your thoughts on that? And then also to everyone listening, Cincinnati is beating Miami right now. I didn't know this was a big rivalry game for them, so it's cool to learn about these new rivalries coming to the Big 12. They play for a bell, and they've been playing since the 1800s. So just something to look out for when Cincinnati comes in.
Yep.
Thank you all.
Yes, Miami, Ohio. just like the other Miami, but totally different.
Yeah.
Without the beach.
The secondary is a concern, and the turnovers are a concern. Not creating turnovers are a concern. Blake Shapen, I'm going to break everybody's heart here, but he's going to do that.
Yeah.
He's going to do that 2 years from now.
He's Brett
going to do
Favre.
that. He's got that in him.
Yes.
And he's going to do that. You just hope he doesn't do it in games where you're not going to win by 35. So it's going to happen from time to time because he very much trusts his ability, which is great. It's good. Sometimes, though, you can trust it a little too much. And I do but you do have to think about this defense. They lost a turnover machine in Jalen Petrie.
And JT Woods.
They lost another turnover machine in JT Woods.
Yeah.
And they lost another turnover machine in Terrell Bernard.
Correct.
All three of those guys knew how to create turnovers and and not only create turnovers, those three guys made the most out of them.
Yes.
Very rarely were their turnovers like, oh, look, they're just at the bottom of the pile and they wrestle away. They would create pick sixes and fumble returns for touchdowns. And these, Terrell Bernard had one he created on a kickoff one time. It was just a great play. So all these things that they did, they've got to find that from somebody else. And so far, they haven't done it. They have good players. Will Williams almost had a pick today.
Yes.
Probably should have had one at the goal line. Dylan Doyle can do it. He didn't play for the first half of the game today. Matt Jones is someone I think that can create those negative plays, but they have to do that at those positions. Al Walcott probably would have 2 picks this year if he didn't have a club on his hand.
Yeah.
So those kind of things can probably work themselves out down the line. I know I saw that Walcott's fingers are out of the cast. So
I appreciated the defensive holding on him last week with the club on the hand.
Yeah.
That was who he's holding with.
Yeah. So I see all that. Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. There are concerns. I do think though, if the pass rush reestablishes itself with that defensive line, it should. Then I think some of those issues will be mitigated.
And again, I think in the second half, the defensive line did turn it up a little bit, and they came after him.
Well,
they sent a few different packages.
I would say that
him.
Apu didn't like not being part of the game in the first half all that much because he was not a factor in the first half, which is rare for him. And then he had 2 plays in a row where
I think Texas State had under 40 yards passing in the second half, so that's why they turned it up. And again, there are concerning things, and that was one of the things that concerned me for this year in our season preview. Was replacing all that secondary speed and that secondary talent. I mean, all those guys are either
Jeremy McVay's gone, and all these guys are gone.
All those guys went to an NFL camp, and and the ones that didn't make the NFL camp, they wanted to keep playing. There's a couple now that I think they're heading to the CFL, or at least one's heading to the CFL. So those guys were good players.
They're pros.
They are. They're pros. So if you have pros in secondary, you're gonna make some plays. Those guys were drafted and they're gone, and you have to replace them. And it is youth, it is experience, and you're going to have some mistakes. But we also saw today, again, the scouting, Texas State, they did scout, and they had Matt Jones on an inside receiver. No offense to Matt Jones, that's not his position.
No, they don't want that.
No one wants that besides the offense.
Matt Jones might want it, but only in his wildest dreams.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Hawkins having 13 catches, but when you look at it, it's about 8 yards a catch.
Yeah.
So,
all right, let's go to Steven.
Virginia?
No.
Oh.
Steven
hey guys,
in
how
Saudi
are you?
Arabia. That's right. What's up, Steven?
Yes, that's me. How are you, Paul?
Doing great.
Okay. Hey guys. So, I don't get to watch the game over here, so just kind of follow it on radio and watch the stats. I mean, I just wanted 2 things real quick. One is that, the passing woes. I mean, when you look at our quarterback last year, Blake Shapen stepped in the Big 12 play and threw it around really well. And now we see a couple games where that's not happened. Any more thoughts on why we're not seeing the deeper passes and the more variety? And I mean, it did get better in the second half. He did do well and got some passes in there. But the next comment is, did you see anything particularly better from the BYU game? Did you see them learning something, getting better, fixing some mistakes that were caught in the BYU game? Those are my 2 questions.
All right. Thanks, Steven. Appreciate your call. Let's take the second one first. The second one, in the second half, yes. In the first half, I kind of felt like I was watching what would have been the third or fourth overtime of the BYU game for a minute. The offensive line was kind of reaching for blocks and things like that and looked really sluggish. But in the second half, you saw those things kind of work itself out. As far as why they haven't done it, I think Tyquan Thornton is maybe a bigger loss than everybody kind of thought.
Yeah.
And even he's a big loss. Second round draft pick. He's a pro. He's getting they can't wait for him to get back for the Patriots. They need him in that offense, even as a rookie. They need him. That's why they drafted him so early, because he is something they didn't have, and he's something that Baylor doesn't have. And look, this is not. You look around the country, and part of it's because Ohio State's hoarding all these dudes.
Yeah.
But Alabama, you watched them last week against Texas. They don't have guys that can really take the top off the defense. Bryce Young is kind of making all that stuff happen.
Yes.
You see why he's the defending Heisman Trophy winner. But so it's not. I am surprised. Craig Smoak and I talked about this. Why Baylor, and it might have been just a miscalculation on their part, did not go, because they went in the transfer portal for Drew Estrada.
Yeah.
Why they didn't get more aggressive in the transfer portal for wide receiver, when there are schools like Texas who picked up 3. My guys at FSU picked up 4.
Baylor did want 2 of those guys, and they went after them pretty hard.
Yeah.
But
and I know, and there are now mitigating factors to that as well, as where you could used to say, you can go to Texas, you can go here, you'll be the 5th guy here, or you'll be the 2nd or 1st guy here, and they're like, yeah, but what's my contract?
Yep.
And they're like, oh, well, we can give you these couple things. They're like, yeah, I appreciate it, but what am I dealing with? So
yep.
I think that's also something we have to consider in it. But they did not really. And look, Drew Estrada was their transfer last year, and he came out of the Ivy League.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be necessarily a GA Hall or
players are players.
But go find the players. Go find the the Jared Versus of the world that are. I mean, I know he's a defensive end, but
and again,
playing above their station.
I think, and again, we're talking about the guy who can take the top off was not playing today due to his injury.
Yeah, but it'd be nice to have a second guy who can do that.
Correct. I think that, and again, I think it's just there's so much youth on that in the wide receiver room. Yeah.
The fast guys on this team are all very young.
Who do you trust to go out there and make the play?
Yeah, the slow guys are all veterans, which is good news.
Yeah,
you want that all the time. The fast guys are very young. There's not a lot of in between, Jake.
No, there's not. And one thing I thought of in the way that Baylor did improve was penalties. They only had 5 penalties for 55 yards today, where in Provo they had 14 penalties for 117 yards. And so it was very encouraging to see the Bears get it together on the discipline front.
All right, let's take our first break here. Give us a call, text us, get on the chat room, 254-339-1122, 254-339-1122. This is the Baylor Post Game Show on 365 Sports, Signal 365.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Three Nations Brewing Company has 16 different beers on draft with a new beer every Friday. It also offers 2 air-conditioned tap rooms, a large indoor beer hall, a second-floor mezzanine offering a great overview of the brewing company and equipment and patio where you can relax under the shade. Plus, you can now experience the new Three Nations Beer Garden Grill on our shaded patio. Grab a cold beer and enjoy a bite from our freshly prepared and delicious menu. Street tacos, quesadillas, freshly cooked burgers and dogs, and veggie burgers too. Nachos and so much more, all prepared and cooked on site. So come visit the award-winning Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
Cars priced right both day and night. Average your car in Texas. Trucks built for you, red, white, and blue. Average your car in Texas. Cars that zoom with lots of room. Average your car in Texas. Count on us, a dealer to trust. Average your car in Waco, Texas.
Did you know that Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness is a partner of the City of Waco? Did you know that we are open to the public? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness offers day passes to the public for only $10 a day, and we offer money-saving memberships. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness offers over 40 group exercise classes each week, including barre, yoga, boot camp, indoor cycling, and more. There are free weights, weight machines, TRX, rowing machines, stationary bikes, new treadmills, elliptical machines, and much more on the spacious weight room floor. Personal training available where you can be encouraged to grow. Sauna, whirlpool, tanning bed, and kids club. 17 tennis courts, 8 pickleball courts, youth and adult tennis and pickleball lessons. Waco's premier experience where you can help your mind, body, and soul. Visit our website at wacotennis.com. Call us at 254-753-7675 or visit us next to Hawaiian Falls on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
This is the Baylor Postgame Show on Sikkim 365 Radio. Brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, TFNB, your bank for life, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, Three Nations Brewing Company, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, Edward Jones Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, and Bubba's 33.
Welcome back. Paul Catalina, Brian Etheridge, and Jacob Wilson. JP from the 830 on the Riverbend text line. We have to take shots down the field. Baylor isn't doing that, and as a result, there are too many defenders in the box soon after the snap. Also, what happened to the tight ends being involved in the offense? That was an expectation going into the season. Well, no Ben Sims today.
Yeah.
I was expecting a little bit more out of Drake Dabney early on, but that might just be, a factor of working him in later because we've seen some stuff early in the first couple of years of his career. I thought we'd see more of that, but they have 3 really good tight ends.
I think once Miller went out, they probably brought Dabney in to block a little bit more than what they were expecting. Kelsey Johnson did have 2 catches, 9 yards. Dabney 1 for 6. So that's not the Ben Sims load that we expect either.
But, you'll see Ben Sims. Like, when Ben Sims comes back in, you'll see him get 4 to 7 catches a game, I would think. And he's the safety blanket. But he's right. They've got to find a way to take shots down the field and cut the top off the defense.
They have to. You have to blow it off and get the ball down there. Even if it's an incompletion, that makes the safeties think you're still going to go out and attack them. And right now, that's just not happening.
Yeah. They just did. There's that Jacob, that little, you can watch the defense just creep up in the box. And then you worry, like, what they had last year with Abram Smith and Tyquan Thornton and Treston Ebner and those guys was, all right, you can creep up in the box to try to stop Abram Smith and Treston Ebner, but, you better have a safety over there to get Tyquan Thornton or that's gonna hurt you.
Yeah, Biscuits and Gravy's on the river right now.
On the river?
She's on the river, yeah.
From...
She's sending us messages from the river.
If you look at the window, you can see us pretty soon.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like we're a little bit. I wish we could see more of the river.
Yeah.
We got to get a camera somehow mounted on the roof so we can.
Think so.
We can go up there and see that.
We can go up and do the show up on the roof when it's not blazing like it was today. It wasn't that bad.
It was swampy.
It was.
It was swampy.
Yeah, I was on the field. It was nice and toasty today.
Yeah, they were showing the radiation coming off the field. So yeah, the heat radiating, not radiation.
We walked from the press box to the media lot is. What, 3/4 of a mile maybe? Especially the way that we have to do it.
Yeah, my Apple Watch thought that we were working out. And so I'm looking at myself in the camera now, and I'm like, oh, man, I got some sun today.
Yeah.
Still looks good, but I got some sun.
Yeah, but because you can't just walk because there's barricades in the parking lot. Yep. I can't just walk out of that door and then slant across. So you have to kind of go around. And even that short little walk, when I got back in here, I drank like a whole by, and I was sweating.
Oh yeah, and Blake and I did the tailgate today, and it was toasty
How did what did he do? What he did on the show?
What did he do?
He did pork belly burn ends. And,
no, we did eggs and bacon, and for breakfast tacos. We also did a al pastor pork,
Okay.
and also just a carnitas pork.
Okay.
And then potatoes, and we did burritos and tacos, and we just delved it out. It was great. Jared McVeigh came by. It was great.
Okay.
Signed some McPlays, and
Oh, nice.
those will be going out in the mail on Monday. And yeah, but other than that, yeah, we were burning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did pork belly burn ends and pork belly BLTs.
Very nice.
And they both looked fantastic.
Oh, everything we've done out there, we've gotten rave reviews, and
Yeah.
and he and I share the cooking, and he does the important parts, and I just get in the way. So it's fine.
No, Brian, last year we used to get, steaks out here. We need to do that. We need, look, here's the deal. We can't ever go to the tailgate. We're here making magic, right? Making media magic. That's what we're doing. And, we don't get to experience a tailgate. And then I have to watch Blake do food porn for 5 minutes. And then,
I'm serving it for 4 hours and not eating.
Yeah. See, there's got to be, Blake did come in for a road game last year and do it up for us.
We'll bring you some. We'll figure out how to get it over here. We'll send Hodge or Barber over here and send it in with him.
I just think that as the,
DoorDash it.
I'm like, of the people in this room, I'm the only one who's constantly come to please judge cook-offs. They know I have expertise. It's right here. You see it right here in these cheeks.
No, we had
right
we had another good time with it. So that was better than the first half.
Let me tell you. Biscuits ready. Sorry, Paul. Blake and Brian are needed by the masses. I get that. I just want a little sampler. That's all I need. I will tell you this: if you get asked to do a chili cook-off, you may want to pass. It's only fun for a little while.
Yeah,
and the aftershock is not worth. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. I'll just tell you that much.
I learned that when I was a student at Baylor, Paul, and we had fun with it the next year at a chili cook-off, and we put some fun ingredients in the chili that year.
Yeah.
I won't sell anyone down the river, but Four Loko and chili. It's not as bad as you would think.
No. We need Biscuits and Gravy to stop here at the suspension bridge and pick us up for a tour. That's what we need.
Yeah, that's what we do. I bet you she would. Can we get down there? We can go, I don't know.
I can get off that bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. One way or another.
The one that's not open right now?
Yeah.
No, we could probably go down by the memorial here.
I think so.
Dory Mill Memorial.
Yeah, I think so.
Get on the boat. I think, though, as we kind of reassess this game and look ahead to next week, they're going to Ames. It's a tough place to play. I think my biggest concern is, and this is Baylor over the years, this is not a great road team. And to take this step from where they were a year ago to winning the Big 12, winning the Sugar Bowl, all of which was great, their road woes cost them a chance at the CFP.
Yes.
They need to, looking ahead to next week, win. And Ames, I don't know how good Iowa State is. I really don't.
No, I don't either.
I don't. We really probably won't know next week, but it does. I know that they're not bad, though.
No.
And I know that they also play well there.
They should not out-athlete Baylor.
Yes.
So if that's the case, Baylor should win that game. But it is a road game. Baylor has played not as great on the road. So that is something that's going to be interesting to watch.
The last two times that they played there, just in my memory, didn't end well.
No, and I think that was what was that the Brewery ejection game? And then and then
the 2020 the Squirrel game that almost went great, but
until he tore his everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a tough place to play. Even at 11 a.m., which I think was a huge, I know a lot of people don't like 11 a.m. kickoffs. If you're in the media, we love them. But if you're looking for any kind of gift from above on the Big 12 scheduling gods,
yes,
not having to go to Ames at 7 o'clock at night is a gift. That is or at 3:30 in the afternoon, 2:30 in the afternoon, that's a gift. It's still going to be a tough place to play. And they have nothing but tough places to play this year. They did not get one single road game that's UCLA.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not
mortuary.
Yeah, they're not getting that. No. So they have that, and then they have West Virginia. They have all these things coming up that are West Virginia is a place I know that Baylor fans wish they never had to go.
Correct.
I mean,
and this might be the year to go to West Virginia.
Yeah, but even still.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Something's
even
going to
still,
happen.
It's just
Something.
It's a house of horrors. But, yeah, they got to find a way to fix that on the road.
Yeah. I think that's the one game that, if Baylor wins this game, I think the trajectory, everyone starts going, okay, maybe this is a team that could win the Big 12 again. Right now, there are doubts.
Yeah.
And that would sort of start getting people's minds solidified around the fact that, yes, they will win the Big 12, or they have a very good shot at winning the Big 12. Because, again, the only team we've seen play someone close, I guess, is Texas versus Alabama. But Alabama didn't look like Alabama that we expected.
No, and Texas does this.
Yes.
We're talking to Jeff Howe. We've talked about this, but Texas does this a lot, guys.
Yes.
They've done this a lot over the last decade. And then everybody's like, oh, and then it doesn't materialize.
Is this 2018?
So just to be fair to them, and not even stomp on Texas, just let them get there, man.
Get some breath.
Just let them get there. It is not fair to them, and I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth, to put these expectations on these poor guys just because they do one good thing once. That's part of the thing that's hurting them. Now, if you want to continue to keep Texas down, I'm not going to stop you, but let's stop the madness and just let them earn it back.
Yeah.
Paul, I don't think you're ever going to have that madness be stopped because it doesn't matter what your situation is at UT. Expectations are always going to be massive. And look, Vince Young and Colt McCoy, they're long gone. Goodbye. But I'm like, whenever they have a good game, they should definitely, have those expectations come back. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. That way we, the rest of us who are not on the ivory tower of the University of Texas can enjoy it when ultimately they don't go back to those expectations.
Last time I sat here with you, Syracuse put a whipping on Louisville, and now Syracuse is about to beat Purdue.
Yeah.
Poor Grayson.
Yeah,
ACC dark horse.
Look, Louisville might have gotten their coach fired last night, losing to Florida State's backup quarterback, but I'll take it. So.
Yeah. No, this is this team, Baylor has a lot to prove still. And I think that's the one thing we're seeing is we need the young players to step up. We need to see those guys, for Baylor people to start believing this is the team we all thought it would be. And I thought it would be as well, just because they were line the D-line. But I still had the concerns. And so those concerns right now are still coming to fruition. So we just need to see just a little more advancement from those other teams, from the other secondary, from the secondary and the wide receiver group. Yeah,
let's do a quick score wrap around here in a second. But I'll say this. There is going to be a point where this guy's just a sophomore, this guy's just a redshirt freshman. That can't, it doesn't matter. This guy's a starter. Got to play like a starter.
Correct.
And so that's what we haven't seen, especially from the secondary and the skill positions just yet. But, this is a coaching staff this isn't their first day on the job. So those are the things they have to work on. Let's see, elsewhere around the country, Indiana and Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, in OT at 30-30. West Virginia is going to get their first win of the season, 58-7 over Towson. Neil Brown, that was never in doubt. Neil Brown needs to get some wins, though, in the coming weeks because he is in Scott Frost territory right now, I believe.
Yes.
Especially when you lose back-to-back weeks to your biggest rival and then Kansas. Those things just don't look good for you. It doesn't matter that Kansas is better. The rationale of that will not land on the fans.
Correct.
They can't afterwards, well, Kansas was better. You're not thinking that especially after losing to Pitt.
I'm looking right now, K-State, trap game here, down 7-0 to Tulane the second quarter. The Helmet Bowl, both those guys broke out the special helmets, and K-State got Oklahoma next week after blowing out Missouri.
Yeah. UCLA leads South Alabama 20-17, 13:22 left in the third quarter, in front of dozens of people at the Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. Literally 3 school buses full of people have poured into the Rose Bowl. Iowa State rolling over Ohio 30-3. Again, we haven't seen the Big 12 really make a statement. You'd like to have seen, for Nebraska's sake, them really contend with Oklahoma, but Oklahoma's offense is going to be scary. We've seen that offense. We know how it's going to be. teams are going to have to find a way to keep up with them. Rutgers 10-7 over Temple. Virginia 10-7 over ODU. ODU, they're taking shots at their like cross-conference or cross-state rivals there.
Oh, yeah.
In Virginia. Notre Dame trails Cal 10-7. 4:05 left in the first half. Tulane over Kansas State 7-0 early second quarter. And North Texas leads UNLV 10-9 after the first quarter just ended. Oregon already up 7-0 on BYU. Ole Miss 14, Georgia Tech 0. Auburn and Penn State scoreless in the first quarter. And let's see, anything else? App State and Troy tied at 7-7 in the first quarter. Wisconsin leads New Mexico State 7-0. And just about to get underway, one of the most interesting games of the day to me, Kansas and Houston. All right, guys, final thoughts on the game today.
Need to grow up, need to make plays, need to get healthy. Healthy. That's my number one thing right now for Baylor.
Yeah. Jacob?
Yeah, one thing that I was talking to Jack McKenzie about before we walked into the game was just, the state of the quarterback play. And look, like I mentioned earlier, we don't know exactly how good Blake is because of what he's had around him. But if it kind of stays on this trajectory, there's a kid coming next year that would be very interested in taking his job. I'm not going to open that can of worms right now. But, yeah, he should probably think about stepping it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that if the things around Blake Shapen get better, then Blake Shapen gets better. I think that will be especially true. All right, that's going to do it for us. Iowa State next week. We're here for Game Day Live. We're back on Monday, 3 to 6. But Game Day Live will be 9:00 a.m. again on KWTX next week. And then our post-game show here on the YouTube channel right after. Please like and subscribe. And look, thank you for watching right after the game when you did. Thank you for watching later when you've gotten home from the game, when you're done watching games and you want to come back. A whole bunch of you did that last week. And I'm telling you right now, for a company that thrives on your views and listens and likes and subscriptions, that means the world to us that you would go and find it later on in the day on a weekend when you have other things to do. So thank you for watching and listening, whether you do it live, whether you do it later. We love it. We love you. Thank you so much. We're back again next week. For Brian Ethridge, for Jacob Wilson, I'm Paul Catalina. Good night, everybody.